You won't believe what just happened. Reports started flooding in about Bishop T.D. Jakes' massive heart attack, and within minutes, shockwaves spread across the Christian community. People couldn't believe it. How could this happen to a man who had always seemed strong, powerful, and full of energy? For years, T.D. Jakes stood as a pillar of faith, a spiritual leader whose influence reached millions. But this sudden health crisis raised serious questions. Was it stress, overwork, or something even deeper? At first, it felt like a rumor, but as more sources confirmed the news, reality started to sink in. T.D. Jakes, the legendary pastor of the Potter's House, had suffered a serious heart attack. But here's the shocking part. Some people are saying this was not just a random medical emergency. There might be something much bigger behind this, something that could change everything we thought we knew about him. When the news first broke, social media exploded with reactions. Some people were praying for his recovery, while others started asking uncomfortable questions. Was there something going on behind the scenes that no one knew about? Had T.D. Jakes been secretly battling health issues for months? And the biggest question of all, did he see this coming? Reports started emerging that the heart attack wasn't as sudden as it seemed. Insiders revealed that for months there had been warning signs, but they were either ignored or hidden from the public. Some claimed he had looked tired, exhausted, even weak in recent appearances. Others noticed he had been canceling events, something he rarely ever did. Was this a sign that his body had been breaking down under pressure? Or was there another reason behind these sudden changes? But this is where it gets interesting. T.D. Jakes wasn't just an ordinary pastor. He was a leader, a businessman, a best-selling author, and a public figure with enormous responsibilities. Running a megachurch with thousands of members, managing an empire of books, conferences, and media projects, it all came with a heavy burden. People began wondering, had the pressure finally caught up to him? Some experts pointed out that stress is one of the leading causes of heart attacks, especially for people in high-pressure leadership roles. Could it be that T.D. Jakes, a man who had always preached about faith and perseverance, had been silently struggling with the weight of it all? If that's the case, then this wasn't just a health crisis, it was a wake-up call. But here's where it takes a darker turn. Some sources are now saying that this heart attack might not have been caused by stress alone. Could there be something else going on? Rumors started spreading, whispers that there was more to the story than what the public was being told. Some believed this was a spiritual attack, a sign that T.D. Jakes had been facing serious opposition, even from within the church community. Others claimed that his health struggles might be connected to internal conflicts, financial pressures, or even hidden betrayals. These speculations only added more mystery to an already shocking event. And then came the moment that shook everyone. T.D. Jakes himself finally broke his silence. What he revealed left people speechless. For the first time, he admitted that he had been pushing himself beyond his limits. He spoke about the immense pressure of leading a global ministry, the overwhelming responsibilities, and the constant demand to be strong, even when he felt weak. He described the terrifying moment when he felt his chest tighten, the shortness of breath, the pain that told him something was very wrong. He knew he had been ignoring the signs, but this time, his body refused to let him push through it. And now, he had no choice but to face a hard truth. He was not invincible. But here's where it gets even more shocking. In his statement, T.D. Jakes hinted at something no one saw coming. He admitted that this heart attack had forced him to rethink everything: his health, his responsibilities, and even his future in ministry. Could this mean he was planning to step away from leadership? Was this the beginning of a major change in the Potter's House? His words left more questions than answers, and the speculation only grew stronger. Now, here's the big twist. Some people aren't buying his explanation. What if there's more to this heart attack than what we're being told? Some sources believe there's a hidden reason behind this crisis, and if those claims turn out to be true, it could change everything we thought we knew about T.D. Jakes and his ministry. But before we get into that, let's take a closer look at the hidden signs everyone ignored the warnings that something was seriously wrong long before this heart attack happened. This is where it gets even more intense. While the world was still trying to process the shocking news of TD Jakes' heart attack, disturbing new details started to surface. People who had been close to him for years began speaking out, revealing that the warning signs had been there all along, but no one paid attention. Could this entire situation have been prevented? And if so, why was nothing done before it was too late? For months before his heart attack, TD Jakes had been showing clear signs of exhaustion. In public appearances, he didn't look like the same man who once commanded massive stadiums with endless energy. His voice, once booming with passion, seemed weaker. His movements, once full of power, had become slower, almost hesitant. Some of his followers even noticed that he had started pausing more during sermons, as if struggling to catch his breath. But the craziest part? People assumed he was just tired from working too hard. No one thought it was something serious. But here's where things take a darker turn. It wasn't just about exhaustion. TD Jakes had actually canceled multiple engagements in the months leading up to his heart attack. And for a man like him, that was extremely rare. Over the years, he had built a reputation for being unstoppable, always showing up no matter what. So when he started backing out of events, insiders knew something wasn't right. Some said he blamed it on a busy schedule, while others believe he was actually hiding his health struggles. But why would he do that? Was he afraid of looking weak? Was he pushing himself too hard? Or was there another reason? And then came the most chilling detail. TD Jakes himself admitted that he had been ignoring the warning signs. In a recent statement, he confessed that he had been feeling unusual chest pain, fatigue, and moments of dizziness for months. He knew something was wrong, but instead of slowing down, he did what he had always done. He kept going. He convinced himself that it was just stress, that he could push through it like he always had, but this time his body had other plans. When the heart attack finally happened, it was like his body was forcing him to stop, refusing to let him ignore the problem any longer. But here's where it gets even more shocking. Some insiders believe that TD Jakes wasn't just battling physical exhaustion. He was also dealing with intense emotional and spiritual stress behind closed doors. Was there something going on behind the scenes that no one knew about? Could the weight of running a megachurch empire have been too much for him? Reports started surfacing that internal conflicts, financial pressures, and even betrayal from close associates might have been weighing him down more than he let on. And then another theory emerged, one that shook the faith community to its core. What if this heart attack wasn't just a health issue, but a spiritual attack? Some pastors and religious leaders started claiming that TD Jakes had been under spiritual warfare, facing opposition from both inside and outside the church. It's no secret that Jakes has had his fair share of critics and enemies, from those who accuse him of preaching prosperity over true faith to those who believe he has become too powerful, too wealthy, and too influential. Was this health crisis a divine warning, or was it an attack meant to bring him down? And now, the biggest question of all, what happens next? TD Jakes has spent decades building his legacy, leading millions, and standing as one of the most powerful figures in modern Christianity. But after this massive wake-up call, could he finally be considering stepping away from leadership? Some sources close to him have revealed that his family has been urging him to slow down, especially his wife, Sarita Jakes. Could this be the moment that changes everything? Now, here's where it gets even crazier. Not everyone believes this heart attack was just about health issues. Some people think that something much bigger was going on behind the scenes, something that has yet to be revealed. If these rumors are true, then this story isn't just about TD Jakes' health. It could be about power, leadership, and a decision that could shake the entire church world. But before we dive into that, we need to talk about the growing controversy surrounding this situation, because what people are saying now could change everything. But here is the shocking part. While most of the world believed this was just a health scare, others started digging deeper, and what they found changed everything. At first, the story seemed simple. A hardworking pastor suffers a heart attack due to stress and exhaustion. But as more people began speaking out, it became clear that there was more to this than met the eye. And now, rumors were spreading like wildfire. One of the most controversial theories, some people believe that T.D. Jakes' heart attack wasn't just a personal health crisis, but a divine warning. According to this theory, God was humbling him, sending him a message that it was time to step back, reflect, and change his ways. For years, T.D. Jakes had been accused of promoting the prosperity gospel, a belief that faith leads to wealth and success. His critics argued that his lavish lifestyle, multi-million-dollar empire, and powerful connections had taken him away from the true message of Christianity. Some even said he had become more of a businessman than a pastor. And now, after this health crisis, many were questioning whether this was a sign from God, a wake-up call that he needed to rethink his priorities. One viral post on social media read, "God will take away what you put above him." T.D. Jakes built an empire, but did he forget humility? This heart attack is not a coincidence. Others took it even further, suggesting that his time as the leader of the Potter's House might be coming to an end. But not everyone agreed with this theory. In fact, many of T.D. Jakes' supporters believed that this wasn't a warning from God at all, but a spiritual attack. They argued that Jakes had been under intense spiritual warfare for years, facing opposition not only from critics, but even from inside the church world. Pastor Jamal Bryant, a well-known preacher, stated, "Satan only attacks those who are a threat. If Bishop Jakes is under fire, it's because he's shaking the kingdom of darkness." Was it possible that this heart attack wasn't just a health scare, but a battle between spiritual forces? Many of his followers believed that the enemy was trying to take him down because his influence was too powerful, his message too strong. And then there was another disturbing rumor, one that no one saw coming. Some sources claim that behind closed doors, T.D. Jakes had been dealing with serious internal struggles, both personal and within his church. Whispers started to spread that there had been tensions among leadership at the Potter's House. Some believed that certain individuals within his inner circle were pushing for changes that Jakes wasn't ready to make. Could these internal pressures have been weighing on him so heavily that they contributed to his health crisis? And then came the biggest question of all. Was this heart attack the sign that T.D. Jakes needed to step down from leadership? For years, people had quietly speculated about what would happen when T.D. Jakes could no longer lead. Now, some church insiders were suggesting that his health scare was a clear signal that it was time for him to pass the torch. One former church staff member allegedly told a source, "There have been quiet conversations for years about who will take over when Bishop Jakes can no longer lead. This heart attack is making those conversations much louder." Another anonymous source claimed, "Some of us think this is God's way of saying it's time for new leadership." And now the speculation was growing even stronger. Would T.D. Jakes announce his retirement? Would he take a step back and let someone else lead? Or would he return stronger than ever, determined to prove that he was not done yet? One thing was certain, the world was watching. But before we get to that, there was one final twist that no one saw coming. Because just when people thought they knew what was happening, a new wave of controversy hit. One that could change everything we thought we knew about T.D. Jakes' ministry, his leadership, and his future. Now, this is where it gets even crazier. Just when everyone thought the speculation was settling down, a new controversy erupted, one that no one saw coming. Because as T.D. Jakes remained under medical care and spiritual reflection, whispers started spreading about what would happen next. Would he take a temporary break? Would he cut back on responsibilities? Or was this the beginning of the end for his leadership at the Potter's House? But then came the most shocking development yet. Some sources claimed that T.D. Jakes himself was reconsidering his future in ministry. And not just that, there were rumors that he was having serious conversations about the possibility of stepping down. For years, Jakes had built an empire, but now his family and close advisors were reportedly urging him to put his health first. His wife, Sarita Jakes, and his children were deeply concerned, and sources claimed they had been begging him to slow down. One insider allegedly stated, his family has been telling him for years to take a step back, but he never listened. Now, after this heart attack, they are telling him he has no choice. And here's where things got even more intense. People inside the Potter's house reportedly began discussing leadership changes. Who would take over if T.D. Jakes did step down? Would it be someone from his own family? Would a new leader emerge? Or was this church empire too big to survive without him? Some even questioned if the Potter's house could remain the same without T.D. Jakes at the helm. After all, he wasn't just a preacher. He was the face of the entire ministry. Could the church continue to thrive without him leading every Sunday? And then T.D. Jakes finally broke his silence. After days of speculation, he released a statement addressing his health crisis, his future, and the rumors swirling around him. Yes, he confirmed that the heart attack was real. Yes, he admitted that he had been pushing himself too hard. And yes, he acknowledged that he needed to make some changes, but here's the craziest part. He did not confirm whether he was stepping down. Instead, he left his followers with a message that was open to interpretation. This experience has reminded me that no matter how strong we think we are still human. I have spent my life serving, preaching, and building, but now I must listen to my family, to my body, and most importantly, to God. What happens next is in his hands. His words left people stunned. Was this a hint that he might retire? Was he preparing for a major shift in his ministry? Or was this just another test of faith, one that he would overcome as he had so many times before? One thing was certain, this was a turning point. Would T.D. Jakes return to the pulpit stronger than ever, proving that this was just a temporary setback? Would he slowly begin transitioning out of leadership, preparing his successor for the future? Or was this the final chapter of his time at the Potter's house? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure, this story is far from over. So what do you think? Should T.D. Jakes step down, or will he make a comeback? Was this heart attack just a health crisis, or was it a deeper message from God? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want to stay updated on this developing story, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this video with others. Because no matter what happens next, the world will be watching.